The future is a choice, not a prediction, and this is one of the most powerful truths we often overlook. Too many people live as if tomorrow is something that just happens to them, like a wave that arrives whether they are ready or not. But in reality, every tomorrow is built on the foundation of the choices we make today. The way you spend your hours, the decisions you avoid or embrace, the risks you take, and the courage you summon. These are not just moments. They are bricks being laid down for the road ahead. The idea that the future is out of your control is comforting in a way because it relieves you of responsibility. If the future is just a prediction, then nothing you do today matters. But when you recognize that the future is a choice, suddenly the weight shifts back to you. It means you are responsible for your tomorrow. And that responsibility can be terrifying, but also empowering. Think of the people who changed their entire lives by making one choice: to learn a new skill, to move to a new place, to walk away from something toxic, or to step towards something uncertain. None of them knew exactly how things would unfold, but they knew they could no longer stay where they were. That one decision set off a chain reaction that altered everything. The same is true for all of us. We don't have to map out every detail or wait for certainty. We just need the courage to choose differently today. When you wake up tomorrow, the life you step into is a direct reflection of the choices you made yesterday. So ask yourself, are your choices pulling you toward the person you want to become or keeping you trapped in who you've always been? The answer to that question determines whether your future will look different from your past. The beauty of life is that no matter where you stand right now, the power to choose is always available. You can decide to rewrite your story. You can decide that the patterns of yesterday do not get to define the possibilities of tomorrow. Your circumstances do not determine your destiny. Your choices do. And the most incredible part is that you don't need a dramatic leap to change your future. Even the smallest shift, repeated consistently, can alter your entire path. Every choice carries weight. Every choice is a vote for the kind of future you will live in. That is why the future is not something we predict, but something we decide. It is being shaped in this very moment by what you choose to do next, by the courage you choose to show, and by the vision you allow yourself to pursue. Clarity over certainty is one of the most liberating ideas you can embrace when thinking about the future. We often get stuck waiting until we know exactly how things will turn out before we dare to take action. We hesitate to move because we cannot see the entire road ahead. But the truth is, you will never have certainty, and if you wait for it, you will spend your life standing still. What you truly need is clarity, not certainty. Clarity is about knowing your direction, knowing what you value, and knowing why you want to move. Certainty is about knowing the outcome in advance, and that is something no one can ever guarantee. Think about explorers who set out across oceans centuries ago. They didn't know what lands they would discover or what dangers they would face, but they had clarity that something was worth seeking. That clarity gave them the courage to leave the safety of the shore. In our own lives, we may not be crossing oceans, but we face similar choices. Do we stay where it feels safe, even if we know it isn't fulfilling? Or do we step into the unknown with a clear sense of why we're moving? Clarity guides us when certainty cannot. For example, a student may not know what exact career they will end up in. But if they have clarity that they want to make a difference in education, healthcare, or technology, that clarity will guide the decisions they make along the way. The steps may change, the road may twist, but the direction remains true. This is the essence of changing your future. It is less about predicting outcomes and more about aligning your actions with your deeper sense of purpose. Many people remain stuck because they confuse clarity with certainty. They think, once I know for sure that this will work out, I'll take the leap. But certainty never comes, and so the leap never happens. Meanwhile, those who move forward with clarity, even in uncertainty, are the ones who create the futures they dream of. It is better to walk in the right direction with uncertainty than to stand still waiting for guarantees that will never arrive. Clarity is what allows you to make decisions with confidence, even when the outcome is unpredictable. It is what helps you say yes to opportunities that align with your values and no to distractions that pull you off course. Without clarity, even the best opportunities feel overwhelming. With clarity, even uncertainty feels like progress. And so, the challenge is not to demand certainty about what the future holds, but to seek clarity about what matters most to you right now. Once you have that, you don't need to know the entire map. You only need to see the next step, and when you take it, the road begins to reveal itself. Small shifts create big transformations. And this principle holds the secret to why some people radically change their lives, while others remain stuck in the same cycles for years. We often assume that change has to be dramatic, that in order to transform our future we need a massive breakthrough, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, or a bold leap that shocks the world. But the truth is, the future doesn't usually change in a single grand gesture. It changes in the quiet, consistent decisions we make each day. Think about how rivers carve valleys. It doesn't happen overnight with a single surge of water. It happens drop by drop, flow by flow, year after year, until the entire landscape is reshaped. Your habits, your mindset, your actions, they are the water carving the valley of your future. One small choice, repeated daily, is more powerful than one dramatic decision made once. Consider someone who wants to write a book. Waiting for the perfect inspiration, the perfect free weekend, or the perfect burst of motivation means the book will likely never be written. But choosing to write just one page a day, even if imperfect, will result in an entire book within a year. That's the power of small shifts. They compound, they accumulate, and over time they transform. The problem is that small changes are easy to dismiss. Skipping one workout doesn't seem like a big deal. Spending one extra hour scrolling your phone instead of reading or learning feels harmless in the moment. But repeated day after day, those tiny decisions shape your identity and your destiny. In the same way, small positive choices might not feel significant at first, but over weeks, months, and years, they add up to something extraordinary. A 10-minute walk every day leads to better health. Setting aside a little money consistently builds financial security. Choosing to listen deeply in conversations strengthens relationships. None of these feel world-changing in the moment, but compounded, they redefine the trajectory of your life. The future is not changed by waiting for the perfect moment. It's changed by creating momentum through small, consistent actions. And the best part is that small shifts are always within your control. You don't need permission, you don't need ideal circumstances, and you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to decide what small shift you can make today that moves you closer to who you want to become. Transformation begins the moment you stop underestimating the power of the small. The little things you do or don't do are writing your future story every single day. So, if you want to change your future, don't wait for the giant leap. Start with the smallest step you can take right now, and repeat it until the compound effect turns that small shift into a transformation so big you'll hardly recognize where you began. Courage to leave comfort is one of the hardest but most necessary decisions if you want to change your future. Comfort has a way of convincing us that staying where we are is safer than moving forward. It whispers that familiarity is better than possibility, that the known, even if it is unfulfilling, is more secure than the unknown. And because of this, countless people remain in jobs they dislike, relationships that drain them, or routines that keep them stagnant, all because stepping into uncertainty feels frightening. But the reality is that growth never happens inside the walls of comfort. Everything extraordinary you admire in others, their success, their fulfillment, their impact, came from a willingness to step into discomfort. Leaving comfort doesn't always mean quitting everything overnight or throwing yourself into chaos. It means choosing to take steps that stretch you beyond what feels easy. It means daring to risk failure, rejection, or even ridicule in order to pursue something greater than the comfort of staying the same. Imagine someone standing at the edge of a pool, debating whether to jump in. The water looks cold, the shock feels intimidating, and so they stand there, rationalizing why maybe it's better to stay dry. But as soon as they leap, as soon as they immerse themselves, the body adjusts and the fear disappears. That leap is exactly what courage looks like. It is a decision, not the absence of fear. Waiting until fear disappears before you move ensures you will never move at all. Courage is the bridge that carries you from where you are to where you want to be. Without it, you remain trapped in cycles of comfort disguised as security. With it, you open doors to experiences, growth, and opportunities that comfort could never provide. Think of the countless people who reinvented their lives by choosing discomfort. An entrepreneur who leaves a steady paycheck to pursue a dream. An artist who risks criticism to share their work. A student who speaks up in a classroom despite trembling hands. None of these acts are free of fear, but all of them are fueled by courage, and each one changes the trajectory of the future. The irony is that comfort feels safe but often leads to regret, while discomfort feels risky but leads to growth. The question is not whether you feel afraid. The question is whether your vision for the future matters enough to step into that fear anyway. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you expand your capacity. What once felt impossible becomes normal. What once terrified you becomes your new baseline. And with each step, the future you once thought was out of reach starts to come closer. So if you truly want to change your future, don't let comfort hold you hostage. Have the courage to take the leap, not because it is easy, but because everything worth building lives on the other side of comfort. Vision pulls you forward in ways that nothing else can, and without it, even the strongest willpower eventually fades. Vision is not about where you are today, it is about the future you are working toward, the picture of a life that feels worth the struggle, the sacrifice, and the persistence. When you have vision, obstacles stop looking like barriers and start looking like challenges that can be overcome. When you lack vision, even small setbacks feel like reasons to quit. The truth is, people don't burn out because of hard work, they burn out because they can't see where the work is taking them. Vision gives meaning to effort, it gives purpose to pain, and it provides direction when the road ahead looks uncertain. Think about an athlete training before the big event. The early mornings, the exhausting drills, the endless repetition. These are not enjoyable on their own. But the vision of standing on the podium, of achieving something extraordinary, makes every sacrifice worth it. The same applies in life. Without vision, your actions feel empty. With vision, even the hardest days are connected to something greater. What makes vision so powerful is that it doesn't have to be grand or perfect. It doesn't require you to see every detail of the future. All it needs to do is point you in a meaningful direction. Maybe your vision is to build a family filled with love and stability. Maybe it's to create work that changes lives. Maybe it's to grow into a person who inspires others. Whatever it is, when the vision is clear, the steps begin to reveal themselves. The how often appears once you have defined your why. That is why vision is the fuel for resilience. Without it, life feels like wandering aimlessly. With it, life becomes a purposeful journey. And the best part is that vision does not only pull you forward, it pulls others with you. A person with vision inspires those around them because people are naturally drawn to someone who knows where they are going. Leadership, influence, and impact all flow from vision, not from titles or positions. When you live with vision, your choices align with something larger than temporary comfort, and your future becomes a reflection of that alignment. Of course, vision does not eliminate fear or failure, but it makes them manageable. When you stumble, vision reminds you why you started. When doubt creeps in, vision reminds you that the destination matters more than the discomfort of the moment. And when others question your path, vision gives you the clarity to keep going anyway. If you want to change your future, Find a vision that excites you, one that feels bigger than your current reality, one that makes you willing to endure the challenges along the way. Because once you have vision, the future doesn't just happen to you. You begin moving toward it with purpose, and it begins moving toward you. Legacy starts now, not someday in the distant future. And this is where many people misunderstand the idea of impact. We often think of legacy as something that comes at the end of a lifetime, the grand reflection of everything we have accomplished. But legacy is not built at the finish line. It is built in the small, daily actions that ripple outwards and touch the lives of others long before we are gone. Every word you speak, every choice you make, every way you treat people is planting seeds that will grow into the story you leave behind. The truth is, you don't get to decide whether or not you leave a legacy. You only get to decide what kind of legacy it will be. Even the smallest decisions are shaping the memories others carry of you, the standards you set, and the influence that extends beyond your own life. Legacy is not just about what you achieve, but about what you set in motion. Consider a teacher who believes in a student others overlooked. That single act of belief may give the student the confidence to pursue a future they never thought possible, and in doing so, the teacher has built a legacy of encouragement that lives on in student's life and the lives that student later touches. Legacy works like that quietly, invisibly, through the influence we have on people day by day. It is not about waiting until you are successful or powerful. It is about recognizing that you already have influence right now, no matter where you stand. The question is, what are you doing with it? Too many people delay the thought of legacy because they think it's connected only to wealth, fame, or great achievements. But the most powerful legacies often come from consistent acts of kindness, integrity, and courage. They come from showing up for people when it matters, from standing firm in your values, from daring to be an example of what is possible. Legacy is not measured in possessions, but in the stories people tell about you when you're not in the room. And the stories are being written today. If you want to change your future, think beyond yourself. Think about how your choices shape not only your own path, but also the paths of those who come after you. The courage you show might inspire someone else to be bold. The kindness you offer might set a standard for how others treat people. The discipline you demonstrate might plant the idea that consistency matters more than talent. All of these ripple effects become your legacy. The future is not only about what you will gain, but also about what you will leave. And the reality is, you are already leaving it with every interaction, every action, every example you set. Legacy is not built someday, it starts now, in the choices you make today. Because those choices are the foundation of the future stories that will be told about you.